Just mentioned they said that we are not able to dock in Great Stirrup Cay today due to the weather conditions. It feels a bit windy out here, but I'm guessing that's why. I think part of it is because this port right now is a tender port, and you can see right over there, that's actually where they're building up here. So it will soon become a port where ships can actually dock at the pier and you can walk off, but right now you do have to tender. They are also doing a lot of construction. As you can see, they're going to be making a water park, lots more like beach and pool areas, a splash pad thing for kids. So they are upgrading this a lot from what it currently is. And I think that's expected to be completed sometime in 2026. So, they're definitely making some improvements to it, and hopefully having that pier will help because you can see, so Great Stirrup Cay is actually like directly next to Royal Caribbean's Coco Cay, Perfect Day Coco Cay, which is right there. You can see there's 2 ships in port for that. So obviously the, conditions are favorable for them to be able to dock, right next door. So I have a feeling it's probably just because of the tendering. So hopefully that will make that a better experience, going forward. But there's also a really pretty rainbow right out there. So a little brightness kind of with a kind of a bummer of a day. But I can just wave to Coco Cay, wish that we were there, wave to Stirrup Cay, wish that we were there, but we are going to be spending the day at sea instead. So definitely a bummer since we didn't get to experience the cabanas that we were supposed to experience. That was going to be really cool, but we will take it in stride because these things can happen. If something like this does happen on your cruise, the cruise line is fully within their right to do it because they are taking your safety at their first priority. So, unfortunately, there's not any like refund or anything like that. If they do have to change up the itinerary for some reason or skip a port, that is within the cruise contract that they are able to do that, without notice. So just something to keep in mind that, yes, it's a bummer, but they don't offer any like refunds or anything like that. They do usually offer some extra onboard activities, they'll do their best to kind of make up for it by doing some extra fun things on board, things like that. But you can see a pretty rainbow there, but we will spend the day at sea. All right, so since we didn't get to go on shore for Great Stirrup Cay today, we're having a day at sea, so I figured I just might show you a little bit around the ship and just kind of highlight some of the areas that are around. Not necessarily like an entire ship tour, but just kind of show you some of the highlights and let you see some of the interesting things that are around on this ship. So one of the first things is we'll kind of work our way from the top down. So we have this speedway, which is where we had our kind of private event the other night. That's right up top here. So kind of go up there so you can see. I know I filmed that a little bit the other night when we were all up here, but it's got a pretty cool view. And you can see that there are some like height and weight restrictions for this. So most like younger kids are not going to be able to do this. So just kind of keep that in mind. They do have the option of like a double cart. So some younger kids, might be able to ride as a secondary rider. But just kind of a little look at that. Okay, so then we're gonna come down and you'll see this is mainly the pool deck with the water slides and just kind of overlooking the pool areas. So definitely some like lounge chairs out here for you to relax. But the pool deck is over here. They've got the big screen TV, which with this being a weekend cruise, they've been showing a lot of football on there. So if you're a football fan, they've been showing a lot of that, but I have also seen in the evenings them showing some movies and stuff too. But there's the look at the pool deck. And then we're gonna come back. There is a restaurant back here called the American Diner. This is one of the main dining restaurants that's included with the cruise. And this just kind of has your typical like diner food. With Norwegian, you do not have to make reservations for the main dining room restaurants, but you can if you would like. So a lot of times you could just walk up to any of the dining restaurants that are included with the main dining, and you can get a table pretty quickly and easily. The specialty dining, you will need to get reservations for those, but this is just a look at the American Diner. It's mostly like an open air kind of seating, but got some fun little vintage cars. And then up here also on deck 17 is the fitness center. And then we're gonna come into Spice H2O. This is a little bit of an adult only area. So there's an adult only hot tub, some lounge chairs, a bar, and just they have some events up here. Like last night they were supposed to have a glow party, but I think they moved it to another location just because of the weather. I think it was a little too windy, but just kind of a bigger open space here overlooking the back of the ship. Okay, then just one deck down on deck 16, we have the spa. It's called Mandara Spa. And then there's also a video game arcade, and also the Entourage Teen Lounge. So that's for kids that are a little bit older, not in the kids club, that want to come hang out. They have some different events for them up here as well. And that's on deck 16. Okay, pretty much from decks 15 through 9 is mostly staterooms. So down here on deck 8 is where you have some specialty dining. So here we have Cagney's Steakhouse and Le Bistro. Those are both specialty dining restaurants. Cagney's Steakhouse, obviously a steakhouse, and Le Bistro is a French restaurant. So this is kind of where you enter for both of those. We ate at Cagney's the other night and it was fantastic, so highly recommend that one. It's on, I think, a few other Norwegian ships, so that one definitely was highly recommended, and I would definitely do that one again. We also have some of the shops. So here on deck 8, you'll see just variety of different shops here where you can find some different things. The shops are only open when they are at sea, not when they're in port. So just keep that in mind. And then here we have a couple of other like bar lounge spaces. So the Sugarcane Mojito Bar. There's also the Cavern Club Liverpool, which is kind of like an English pub type bar, and they have had a Beatles cover band playing there a few times. So that's kind of cool. This is looking down into the atrium, so I really like this chandelier. It's very pretty. There's the nice staircase down there, and you can see part of the casino down there as well. Ocean Blue is another one of the specialty restaurants. There's another lounge called the Cellars. It's definitely more like a wine bar. And then here we also have La Cucina. That is an Italian restaurant. That is a specialty restaurant here on board as well. Okay, so now we're gonna go down to deck 7. Oh, sorry, excuse me. Before that, Food Republic is one of the specialty dining restaurants that's also up here on deck 8. That was kind of like an Asian flair restaurant. We did eat there last night, actually. It was pretty decent. A few of the items were a little bit on the spicier side, so if you have kind of a sensitive palate, might not be the best option for you, but we still found lots of other items on the menu that were still pretty good, so. Okay, making our way down to deck 7. Here is where we have the Joy Theater. So this is where the shows are. This was the show that we saw last night, the Wild Card show, and then there is a 90s show here tonight. So we're definitely hoping to see that. We'll see, that's definitely right up my alley. So I'm kind of excited for that one. But this is where the Joy Theater is. You can enter it on either side of the staircase. And then coming through. We have the local bar and grill. This is just kind of like a general American fare, kind of pub style food, but we've eaten here for breakfast and lunch and had really good experiences. I think it's open for dinner as well, but pretty easy. It's one of the ones that's open pretty much all the time, but they've got some actually really good food, like burgers and wings and like pretzel bites and sandwiches, things like that. It's been really good. So we've eaten there a couple of times. I really liked it, and it was easy to get a table. You can just walk up and sit down. That is included in your cruise fare. It's not a specialty. So next then we're coming to the casino, where they've got kind of some slots here. And they've got table games and all that kind of good stuff. If you like to visit the casino on your cruises. Still coming through the other side. There's more over here. There's also the Skyline Bar, so that's another bar you can visit here in the casino. And the Manhattan Room is straight ahead. That is one of the other main dining restaurants, so included in your cruise fare. Have not eaten there, but it's kind of your traditional, more, standard like main dining room type food for your cruises that you would find. But looks pretty nice. All right, we're gonna make our way down to deck 6. Okay, so there you can see we have the ship model of the Norwegian Joy. So I always like to see the ship models. It's kind of cool. And just kind of looking at it on a smaller scale, but you can see everything that they have up there. So it's pretty neat.
One good animal, and I have two bad animals. How was it? Because we have to walk over to our room. Animals. Why do we have to walk over? Because you can't walk.
Okay, and then on deck 6, we're also coming up on 2 additional main dining restaurants. There's one called Taste and one called Savor. These are a little bit smaller, kind of a little bit more intimate setting than like the Manhattan, which I think is the larger room. But we've not gone to eat here yet, but we are eating at Taste tonight for our group dinner. So, but I've heard good things from other agents that have eaten here for other meals. They are sometimes open for breakfast and lunch, but it just varies a little bit based on the day and the time. So that's 2 other main dining restaurants that you can eat at. Here we have an art gallery if you're interested in purchasing some art via the silent auction.
Daddy, look. Avengers.
That's Star Wars, buddy. Come on, Tata.
Dad, look.
So most cruises will have an art gallery of some kind that you can purchase on if you like that. We have another whiskey bar called Maltings. And then there's the Social Club, which is the comedy and nightclub. So they have, had a comedian here on a couple of nights performing. And then last night, this is where they moved the Glow Party from that Spice H2O. They moved it down here. And then I believe there is a 90s throwback party as well. So that's supposed to be, I think, up on the Spice H2O, but possibly if the weather's bad, maybe they'll move it down here. But here is the main atrium with that really nice looking chandelier. I like the little lights up top that look kind of like stars. That's really pretty. And then there's another specialty dining restaurant over here called Teppanyaki. And that's kind of like an Asian style, but that one is an upcharge with it being a specialty. All right, and then we're kind of coming into another kind of like main atrium area, but I guess it's kind of off the atrium. It's kind of like a main lobby sort of a location, but this is where your guest services is, your shore excursion desk. There right now it looks like a Just Dance competition I think that's going on. Earlier they had a Wheel of Fortune, they've had like Battle of the Sexes game, trivia, things like that. This is where that's going on. There's also the atrium bar and then a Starbucks over there as well. And then there's Q Smokehouse. This is like a barbecue type restaurant. This is also a specialty dining restaurant as well. So an upcharge, but that is kind of like a, barbecue country style type restaurant. And then I'm gonna go down to 5, which is, I think a good amount of staterooms, but there is the Splash Academy, which is the kids club. So I was gonna try to swing by that and see if we can find that. All right, so I kind of wanted to just come on here and kind of give you a little bit of update about how there's a little bit of a kind of interruption in where the ship tour that I was doing yesterday kind of ended, and then now you're seeing me at the airport. So unfortunately I had a little bit of a mishap with the GoPro. Apparently the battery on the device that kind of connects to the GoPro, where you can control it and connect it to the microphone and everything, the medium mod, that was not charging in the room with the ports that were in there. It kind of appeared like it was charging, so I thought it was fine. But yesterday I realized that I had my portable charger, just like for my phone, charging in there, and it was plugged in like all day long, and it only went up like 30%. So it was charging my phone enough, but I think for like a larger, bigger device that maybe requires more power, I don't know, it was not charging very well. So I kind of got cut off when I was doing the ship tour, and then I couldn't really charge the device anymore. So I kind of missed the rest of that. But the only thing that I really didn't get to show you was the kids club. So that was down on deck 5, and I wouldn't have been able to go in there anyway. So obviously wouldn't have been able to show you completely around that, but just show you where it was. So they do have one there, and they had the teen club. So that's definitely available as an option for families. But just know that I didn't get to actually show you where it is, but it is there if you want to utilize it. And then this morning, so after that, then we went to dinner just as a whole Magic Vacations group. We had just a group dinner last evening where it was at one of the main dining restaurants. So I had dinner there, and it was decent. It was okay. Kind of your standard main dining room for for a cruise ship. So it was fine. Went there. We had that at the restaurant was called Taste on the ship. So that's the one that we had. And it was pretty good. And then after that, we had a little cocktail party where we received some awards. So I was recognized in that for having at least over $100,000 in traveled sales from 2024. So that was really exciting. That was my first year to officially hit that. So I was happy for that. And then we just had some other awards among the agency. So that was just kind of a good time to recognize everybody's accomplishments and just be collective together as a group where we can celebrate each other and all of the work that we do for all of our clients throughout the year. So that was great. And then after that, we went to there's another show on board called Bringing Back the 90s. And this show was really fantastic, actually. We all had a good time. There were several of us that kind of dressed up a little bit in some boy band t-shirts. So I'll pop in a picture of that here in a minute. But we had some butterfly clips in our hair and just kind of went with the theme, and it was really fun. But they definitely had lots of great singers and performers, and they kind of performed a huge medley of 90s songs, and so that was definitely nostalgic for me, and I think a lot of the other fellow agents who, we all kind of grew up in that era. So that was really fun. Highly recommend that. They did not allow filming or video during that, so I was not able to record that, but when we went to it afterwards, so I was able to take a picture, but we couldn't record any of it, just like with the show the night before. So didn't get any specific footage of that just for copyright reasons, but definitely highly recommend that one. And then after that, we went to, there was kind of a 90s after dance party kind of thing on the ship, and that was up on the Spice H2O deck, which is the adults only area. So we went up there and just kind of had a good time and hung around. So I just used that time to enjoy hanging out with everybody, just as kind of like a one last hurrah before we got off the ship. Then this morning we got to disembark the ship and went over to the Brightline and took the Brightline train again back up to Orlando. So it's still a good option for that. For me, it worked out it was going to work out better for that, just for the flight options that I had, versus going out of Fort Lauderdale or Miami. So I opted to that. However, there was some weather in Orlando, so ended up getting delayed, and so I missed my connecting flight in Houston. So now I'm on a much later flight, so I have some time to kill at the moment. But that's where I'm kind of popping in to give you all that update. So we are just kind of hanging out for a bit until I get to board my last flight home. But just wanted to kind of share all that with you, and just kind of, since we had the issue with the battery situation, so I didn't get to record that last little bit of our day yesterday. So, but I just appreciate you all watching and following along. And if there's anything else you ever want to know about the ship, just let me know. Okay, so just a couple of my general thoughts about the ship in general and just about Norwegian Cruise Line. You know, this was my first time sailing them, so didn't have a whole lot of experience or other things to compare it to, but there's always a first time for everything, so we want to try new things. I do think that this particular ship is not one that I would recommend for kids or families. There wasn't a whole lot on board for kids. I mean, they did have the kids club and there was a couple of slides, but not a whole lot in the pool area, and not a lot of other like themed activities for kids to do. So it definitely seemed more geared towards you know, an adult, you know, older adult crowd. I also just noticed that there were, even in general, there were just not very many kids on board. I think that has been a little bit of the trend for Norwegian Cruise Line in general, but they are, with some of their bigger ships, they are trying, I think, to appeal to a younger crowd, and they have some more ships and more activities to reflect that. Some of their newer ships have some really, you know, really amazing things on there. So, so this ship in particular, I may not recommend for families, but it was, you know, a great ship for adults who are looking for a lot of like specialty dining, that just kind of want to, you know, relax and enjoy a weekend away, or, you know, just kind of get away for a little bit. So that would be a great option. We didn't get to experience the private island, so that was definitely a bummer. So I can't, you know, speak specifically to that. But overall, it was still, you know, a good experience. I think that depending on what type of cruiser you are, will depend on what, you know, what cruise line is best for you. So that's part of what I do to help you when you're looking to cruise, is to kind of find out what you want and what you know, are what's most important to you when you cruise, so I can help you find the best cruise line that suits your needs. But so Norwegian definitely has a lot to offer in that, and you know, I think that there's some great options for people. But this one, yeah, I wouldn't recommend as much for kids or families, but I think they do have other ships that would be more appropriate for that. I also think that the way that they do things is just a little bit different. You know, I did miss a little bit of the kind of personalized service that you get like with Disney and with Royal Caribbean, where you really get to know your stateroom host, your dining host, you know, in the dining room. So I did miss that a little bit, but I think it's just different. So, you know, maybe some people don't want that. Some people necessarily just, they want to be able to go somewhere else different every night and maybe not see the same people, and that's okay. But for me personally, I kind of like a little bit of that more personalized experience. So that's something that I missed a little bit. But the ship was clean. You know, the food was like normal for what a cruise line, what one would expect. The specialty dining that we experienced was all, you know, pretty good. So I think those were all, you know, pluses for that. So I just want to thank you all so much for watching and following along. And if there is any thing more that you would like to know about Norwegian, about, of course, about anything else that we do, you know, either Disney, Universal, all-inclusives, all that kind of stuff. If you are interested in booking a trip to any of those locations, please reach out to me and I would be happy to assist you. All my services are complimentary whenever you book with me. So I help take care of all the details for you. So just appreciate you following along. Thanks so much. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and follow along for more Carter Family Travels.